All right, girls, I hope you are ready with the book now. So we'll start with the poem Aunt Jennifer's Tiger by Adrienne Rich. Okay? Before we start with this poem, there's something given about the poet. Please go through that. About the poet Adrienne Rich, 1929, was born in Baltimore, Maryland, USA. She is widely known for her involvement in contemporary women's movement as a poet and a theorist. She has published 19 volumes of poetry, 3 collections of essay and other writings. A strong resistance to racism and militarism echoes through her work. The poem Aunt Jennifer's Tiger addresses the constraint of married life a woman experiences. Okay? So now, talking about the poet Adrienne Rich, right? She is a poet who has written about the right of the women, let's say. Okay, we all know that in the earlier days, women were discriminated in many factors, right? They were considered below the men. Okay, and in this poem also, Aunt Jennifer's Tiger, the poet has written about the constraint of a married life a woman experiences. Okay, so as the title suggests, Aunt Jennifer's Tiger. Okay, here in a very simple language, if we say there's a comparison done between Aunt Jennifer and a tiger, right? Aunt Jennifer, a figure who is married, a married woman whose life is crushed. She is married to such a man who does not love her, such a man who used to dominate and torture her. And she was so scared of her husband. She was, her married life was crushed. Okay, and then a comparison is done with a tiger who is very brave. Right? When we talk about tiger, the image comes as a very brave, a chivalric, honored. So here, the comparison of scared Aunt Jennifer with a very brave tiger is done. Right? So let us look at the poem. I'll read and you look at the line and try to understand it. Okay? The first stanza. Aunt Jennifer's tiger prance across a screen, right? Prance means to move quickly and jump over. Here, screen means the partition, okay? So imagine Aunt Jennifer's tiger moves quickly and jumps over a partition. Bright topaz denizen of a world of green. So the color of a tiger, topaz, a precious stone which is yellow in color. So exactly the tiger's color is bright yellow, who moves in the world of green. World of green means a forest. They do not fear the man beneath the tree. Of course, the tiger, they are very brave. They do not fear with the man who is sitting under the tree. They pace. Pace means to move. They move in a sleek, chivalric certainty. Chivalric means very confident, honored, brave. Right? So the first stanza talks about Aunt Jennifer's tiger who moves quickly and jumps over the partition. Right? The color of the tiger is yellow, and this tiger, right, the yellow colored tiger moves very brave in the world of green. They do not fear the man who's sitting beneath the tree. They just move in a very chivalric manner, in a very confident manner. Right? Moving on to the second stanza. Aunt Jennifer's finger fluttering through her wool. Now here we have to understand that Aunt Jennifer, right, she was weaving a tiger in a wool, in a panel, right? Then when she was weaving that tiger in a panel, she finds, Aunt Jennifer's finger, it was fluttering, it was shivering through her wool, finds even the ivory needle hard to pull, right? You've seen a needle, right? It's very thin and it's not difficult to pull. But Aunt Jennifer, she, her finger is shivering, her finger is fluttering, and she could not even move that small ivory needle. Now, here, it does not mean that that ivory needle was of 10 kg or 100 kgs that she could not pull. Here, it means that, she was like her married life. I already told you that her married life was so crushed. Okay, she was so scared of her husband, right? She was so tortured that even her finger told that she was so scared of her husband that she could not even move that small ivory needle. It was like very difficult to move that ivory needle also. Right? I hope you understood. Right? The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. Now here, okay, Uncle's wedding band. Now, first of all, I just wanted to tell you about the band, the ring, right? Of course, when there is when a husband and a wife exchanges a ring, right? That ring symbolizes, it has a sacred symbolic, right? That ring has some holy symbolism. Okay, when a husband and a wife exchange a ring, right, they vow each other that they will, they'll respect each other, they'll love each other, and they'll together, let's say, move into their married life. They'll together struggle for whatever comes. They together will love each other, is what that ring symbolizes. Okay, but here it says the massive weight of uncle's wedding band. I already told you the two things, right? First thing, ivory needle hard to pull does not mean that ivory needle was of 100 kgs and that Aunt Jennifer could not, move that ivory needle. It means that she was so scared of her husband, her married life was crushed, and that is why even she finds very difficult to pull that ivory needle. Second, the massive weight of uncle's wedding band does not mean that she was wearing 100 kgs of wedding ring. Okay, it means that, since she was bonded with that wedding ring, right? She was, she could not run away, right? All the time she was tortured by her husband, uncle. And that is why, that ring also was so heavy on her hand. Sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand, right? So in the second stanza, first thing, what does it say? The first thing it says that Aunt Jennifer was, her finger was fluttering and she could not even move that small ivory needle first. Secondly, it talks about the heavy, massive weight of uncle's wedding band, which sits heavily on Aunt Jennifer's hand, right? Both this word, the ivory needle and the ring, the band, which is like, massive weight, both this thing talks about the tortured life of Aunt Jennifer. Okay, she was so scared, she was so tortured, she was so dominated, her married life was so crushed that even her finger, even that ring talked about her married life. Okay, her crushed married life. Then in the third stanza says, when Aunt is dead, right? When Aunt is dead is even after Aunt Jennifer dies. Her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordals she was mastered by, right? Now here, okay, first, her fingers fluttering. Second, the heavy weight of uncle's wedding band, which was on Aunt Jennifer's hand. Okay, then the continuation in the third stanza says that even after Aunt Jennifer dies, the ring on her finger and the terrified hand will talk about how her married life was. Okay, how she suffered during her married life, right? Still ringed with ordal she was mastered by. The tiger in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. Okay, so again here, right, the comparison is done with Aunt Jennifer, who was very scared of her married life, scared with her husband, tortured of her married life, and the tiger, who was very proud, who moved in that green forest in a very confident manner, is what is said, right? So even after Aunt Jennifer dies, the ring on her finger and her terrified hands will tell about her crushed married life. But the tiger, right? But the tiger in that panel which she was weaving, that tiger will go on prancing, will move on confidently in a very proud and in an unafraid manner, right? Unafraid, the tiger, but Aunt Jennifer always afraid of her husband. Okay, so I'll give the brief of the poem once again. In the first stanza, Aunt Jennifer's tiger, right? Aunt Jennifer's tiger, who moves quickly and jumps over the partition. The color of a tiger is yellow and moves very proud in a world of green, in a forest. That tiger do not fare with the man who's sitting under the tree. And then that tiger just moves on in a very confident manner, right? Second stanza talks about Aunt Jennifer's life, right? The married life of Aunt Jennifer, right? Her tortured life of Aunt Jennifer is said in the second stanza. How? When she finds even that small ivory needle hard to pull. Her finger was fluttering when she was, weaving a panel, and she could not move that ivory needle. Secondly, it talks about the massive weight of Uncle's band, which sits heavily on Aunt Jennifer's hand. Right. I have already told you that the ivory needle was not of 100 kgs, neither that ring was of 100 kgs. But since she was so scared of her husband that she finds the small ivory needle hard to pull, and the ring was so heavy on her hand. Okay. And in the concluding stanza, it talks about what? Even after Aunt Jennifer dies, right? The ring on her finger and the terrified hands talks about how she lived her life, how she lived her married life. But the tiger which she was weaving in a panel will move on, because the tiger is not afraid of anyone. Okay, the tiger moves in a very proud and in an unafraid manner. All right, that's it.